Hello and welcome to episode 47 of the No Excuses podcast. My name's Anne and I live in the middle of Worcestershire with my husband Tom and our Staffordshire Bull Terrier called Bertie, who is not behind me, but he might be in the doorway. Might just be able to see his bum. So yes, today is Friday the 4th of November. It's quite late in the afternoon, I think. So I wanted to get on here and podcast while there was still a decent amount of light. It's been quite a sunny day today, which is nice. I've not been out today. Everything I talk about today should be listed below, and if there's anything I miss, you only have to ask if you'd like any more information. At the moment, there are 2 make-alongs going on Ravelry or Instagram, or you can email me to enter. And again, the email is down below. And we have something new in 22, which will end probably about the end of November, so I can get the prize out. And that's a year long. And anything that's new to you, whether it's new yarn, a new pattern, a new technique, I'm going to be very loose on what we, there's not going to be much that I can say, no, you can't enter. So you don't have to try very hard to convince me. And the other one is the jump along like we did last year, and that will run from now to the end of March 2023. And the jump along is any adult size garment with sleeve, apart from vests. And by vests I mean tank tops, what we'd call what I would have called a tank top when I was a teenager. And the popular ones are designed to go over a shirt or a t-shirt. They've sort of grown in popularity. I've put some details on Ravelry, but if you're in any doubt, you only need to ask me. So yeah, I'll try not to jabber too much, but we've got a fair bit to get through. I've made some pretty coloured notes. I wish I was more artistic. I watch people on YouTube and I think they're so clever, and they just pick up a pen and go, and I try, even to draw a simple flower. I probably need to practice, don't I? What am I wearing? Today you'll recognise it's one of my winter city limits, which is a top-down worsted weight jumper by Tanis Fiber Arts. And I've made this one, I think, from memory. It's minis from Advent and also some yarn from Alison of Biff Sugar, because she does a nice range in light speckles that I've bought over the years. So there's lots and lots of ends in this, but I do love wearing it. I've got 3 city limits and I alternate. I'll wear them for a couple of weeks every day, not very often outside the house, but because they get bobbly and they get pulls and things, but they're really real workhorses for me. They're not as loose as the boxy, and so they fit me a little bit better, and I just chuck them on every day. Different t-shirt underneath, but it just means I don't have to think what I'm wearing. And although it probably cost quite a bit to make the jumper because it's made out of nice wool, I've not sort of bought which I could do, a commercial brand that's much cheaper and wear that every day, because I've got a fair bit of wool, which we'll talk about later. I might have bought some more. Then I'm getting the most of these, because actually per wear per day, cost wise, it's probably coming down rapidly as I wear them throughout the winter. I'm thinking of making another one, but there are so many patterns out there, aren't there? Back time I did something different. Well, oh sorry, that was my dog grabbing Piggy, who's his favourite toy. You've got Piggy, Bert? There he is. Sorry about the piggy noises. He's just getting on his bed in the background. I won't move the camera because I can't guarantee, because I can't see myself anymore in a viewfinder. I can't guarantee that I'll put it back in the same place. You might be looking at the ceiling for all I know. I have finished an item, but I want to talk to you about it, and I did show it yesterday on Instagram, and that is the Amma jumper from Maddie Harvey, who's in Scotland. Sorry, and I'll just show you put that down and show you the jumper. He grunts a lot, Bertie does. So this is the lovely Amma jumper, and it's lovely. It's got a series of, it's top down, it's got a series of knots on the yoke and at the top of the shoulder, and then on the pattern I'll put a photograph of the pattern, that how Maddie designed it. What she's done is she's taken the colour that she's used in the yoke and then put it down towards the bottom of the body, but I only had one skein of this contrast yarn. I didn't buy this with the view to making the Amma jumper because I don't think it had been released at the time of me buying it up, you know, something like that. But I chose to do this thingy because I really like the knot design, and I wanted this as a highlight. I bought it as a highlight to this colour. The limey green colour is called Frea, and this lovely grey, and you can see it's quite fluffy yarn. I don't know how it's going to wear. I'm hoping it doesn't pill too much. Is called Prow Dancer, and they're a DK, and it's Scylfing by Triskelion. And I'll put down below what a mix it is because I can't remember. I think it's a BFL mix, probably, knowing me. And it's nice. I say it's fluffy. It's quite a heavy jumper, and I think that's because I've done one of the bigger sizes. I think I've done a 2XL, and it looks like it's going to be plenty big enough for me. I have tried it on to find the body length, but I've been very lazy and I've not tried it on since, and I've done the sleeves and I've cast them off and I've sewn them in, so you know I'm not doing them again, but they should be long enough. So I'll show you what I'm not going to do again, and that's the sleeves. And what I've done is I've just done my own ending to the sleeves. I did a row of purl, and then I did a row of knit and purl with 2 rows of the grey in between, and then I did a couple of rows of rib and then 3 rows of knit, which is what the cuff says. Actually, those last few rows is what the cuff design says on the pattern, and then it rolls over quite nicely and quite neatly, I think, and I like the fact it contrasts well at the bottom. Now I wouldn't have wanted, even if I'd had more of the lime green, I wouldn't have wanted a big swathe of green over my belly. So what I've done, and it's going to be difficult to show you because it probably needs blocking. A bit reluctant to wash the whole jumper at this time of year, but you can see it's rolling really badly at the moment, and I've tried many different cast-ons. I did a couple of rows of knit one in one, you know, alternating colours, but and then knit stitch. I was going to do it ribbing, and then I decided against it and undid it. And then I've done I haven't done any ribbing actually, and then I've just done a cast off row, and I did the Icelandic cast off in the end because I quite like that, and it's a bit decorative, and I'm hoping that if I press it, it might actually, probably went off sideways then, if I press it, it will sit flatter, but at the moment you can see it's rolling, and so you can't see the contrast finish on there. But yeah, I think that's probably, with a bit of pinning and a bit of spray with soak or eucalan, that might work. And I'm going to try, if we get another day where it looks like it's going to be really dry, I'll try that in the next few days. But I need to get it outside really and give it a good pin. But my main concern, I'm not sorry, but I always get an itchy nose. It's one of those things, isn't it? When you don't want something to happen, it will, because I'm talking on the podcast. Now, on the neck, it's actually folding over quite badly, and it is supposed to be a roll neck, and I've done it differently to how Maddie said, because I wanted it a bit higher. I didn't want it as loose as the design. And what I've done, I finished it, I don't know if you can see this, I've finished the stitches there, but rather than undo those lime stitches there, what I've actually done is I've picked up in the back loop to form and to do a tighter neck line, and I've just done a couple of rows and then I've cast off, but I have decreased probably my go-to decrease is about 1 in 10, and that's what I've done on the hem as well to stop that from flipping, because when I first cast off it was just turning over. In fact, I might have still been working on it, so I undid the last few rows on the hem and tried something different, which still worked better, but it's not quite right. Now it's, if I hold it by the shoulders, you can see that the front's a bit lower than the back, but the neckline is covering the first row of the knot, and I'd rather see those. So I'm wondering, but then I'm not bothered when there's so many other rows of knots, but also I'd like to be able to see a little bit of the contrast. So I don't know, I don't know whether to wear it and see how it fits, because if it sits nicely and doesn't irritate me at the neck. The back has got short rows on it. You can see there's a deeper amount of grey on the back than there is on the front, so it does sit higher at the back, which is nice. But yeah, I'm in two minds. What do you think? I mean, should I just wear it and see? I've got to fix the hem. But I'm not so sure about the neckline. I mean, does it bother me? That's the thing about the fact it's rolling over so much. I don't mind a roll neckline, but it bothers me that it's going over the first line of stitches. I need to look at some of the project photographs actually on Ravelry, because it might be a common thing, and I'm probably not the only person either to have made the neck a bit tighter. So, but anyway, other than that, I am very pleased with it. This is going to be a very, very warm jumper. So I've not weighed it yet to see what the meterage is, but it's DK and it's going to be super, I think. So that's my Amma jumper by Maddie Harvey, MHD, I think her company's called, and she's got some lovely designs. She's got some really nice shawl designs as well. She's done a mystery along called Kinfolk, and I didn't do it because I'm already knitting a shawl, but it's a really, really nice shawl. It looks like it's knitting two halves and they're opposites to one another, I think, but that's really pretty, and I've got a couple more of her shawl patterns. She sells kits for some of her shawls and that on Folksy. If I remember, I'll put a link to her Folksy shop on there, because she'll supply you with the Jameson or Jameson and Smith yarns to do various hats, mitts and shawls that she's got. Nice, you know, nothing too complicated, but effective, which is always a winner, isn't it? So, tea, cold tea, because, you know, I don't drink anything fast. I seem to drink constantly, but I make it last, so most of the time I'm drinking cold drinks. Okay, so we've talked about me rolling neck and me flipping hem. Progress. I don't have to move. I am knitting, as I showed you last time, I think, that amber shawl by, her name is Inese Sang, I-N-E-S-E. And this is it, and I've made some progress. Not a huge amount of progress. I've starts up here with a single colour, and that is the Maple Colourway by Biff Sugar Yarns, and then it goes into the it's not a slip stitch, it's just one colour of one and one of the other. It's not mosaic knitting, no slip stitching involved. So you go through the first panel there, and you've got little bubbles of colour 3, and then in colour 2 you've got a stocking stitch panel, and then again a similar repeat, different order, but the same repeat of the using all the colours next to each other in vertical stripes. And then I've just done the mini bubbles in colour 1. So that's maple. This lovely mustardy yellow is golden fleece, and this red is garnet, and all by Alison of Biff Sugar, and they're MCN, so they're lovely and soft. I keep forgetting what you do. You knit the colourwork panels are done on a slightly larger needle. So I was merrily knitting away yesterday because I've got nothing else on the needles at the moment. I've got my Flea's cardigan, but it's buried somewhere underneath there. I wanted something I could grab at, and I merrily started doing about 5 rows of the garnet, and then realised that I should have gone down the needle size. So last night I unpicked 4 of the rows, and I'm going to change the needles in a minute so I can sit and do the next stocking stitch panel. So yeah, it's a nice easy pattern. It's got little charts on it which are fairly easy to understand, and it's going to be a fairly sizable triangle by the time it's finished, because I think it's going to have it's going to use up most of the yarn. And what I'm thinking is, apart from perhaps saving myself a little bit to go into a mitered square jump blanket, because I do like knitting those, I might just do bands at the bottom of each colour, or do the vertical striping bits or something, just to use up most of the yarn, because the bigger the better really with something like that. And as I probably said last time, with the heating bills going up as much as they are, we need all the woolies we can get, can't we? So that's the amber shawl. I can't say it will be finished next time, but I certainly should be onto the next bit of colour work. And I've already got over 350 stitches on the needles, and you add 4 every other row, so you know, it grows quite quickly. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Very, very pretty. Right, so I'm just having a look at my notes, because I forgot to tell you something last time. Put this down. Now, you remember last time I was telling you about the yellow yarn that I swapped back with Emma of Yarnworthy. Now, I had a bit of a yellow thing going on, but I completely forgot to tell you about the other bit of yellow that I was going to talk about. And I'd gone from swapping my winter and my summer clothes over, and I came across a couple of things, and I thought, I'm not wearing them, they're going, and I've got to get brutal. Our house is stuffed full of stuff, crammed with lots of things, and I need to have a really good go, and I need to be brutal about what I want to keep. I am quite sentimental. I will keep things for sentimental reasons, but if I'm not attached to it and I'm not wearing it and I've made it, no matter how many hours I put into it, I'm not going to be keeping it. I mean, sometimes I might be able to give it to a charity shop. I'm a bit nervous about giving hand knits to charity shops, because I don't know whether they just look at them and chuck them away. I know they get money for rags. So what I did, I took them to the items which I'm going to tell you about. You might roll your eyes at me for, but I took them. There's a skip on our Morrison car park for the Sally Army, and I assume what they do is sort through whatever you put in there. It's clothes bank, and you can put bedding and stuff in there and shoes. I presume they like see what they can give to people to clothe them. Maybe they give some stuff to the charity shop, and I suspect the rest of it goes for rags, and they get so much money per ton. So I didn't want to just throw them away, and I don't like giving things to landfill. But I gave away my Soldotner. Yeah, I did. The one that I only finished last year, that I'd taken apart. I took all the flea or lice stitches out, and it took me ages to finish that thing, although it's in a DK weight again. But I found I wasn't wearing it, and also the lovely soft hammer yellow that I had, HAMA, that again from Triskelion, funnily enough, was pilling quite badly, and overall, let's put it this way, I didn't do my colours very well. Although I think they went together, they're not really me. I'm tending towards a softer palette, more autumn colours, and I got away with wearing it, but I wasn't reaching for it. And yeah, I wore it and I thought it looked okay on me, but it wasn't something I wanted to wear on a regular basis. So I'm afraid that went in the skip. Hopefully somebody might unpick and reuse the yarn, I don't know, or they might just wear it, you know. I know I've got short arms, but some people like a 3/4 sleeve. So, and then the other one I threw away was Bennett Creek, a design that I knitted in Lempion linen from Rowan in a bright yellow colour, and again it was pilling quite badly. It grows very easily, and I wasn't wearing it. It was quite heavy, being linen. I don't think it was a pure linen, but it was a bit baggy, and I do wear baggy clothes, but it just wasn't doing it for me. I had good fun making it because it had a nice cable panel up the front. I'll put a photograph in of at least a pattern. Even I'm not very good at taking photographs of my own stuff when I've made them. Yeah, so I decided to give that away. And then finally, was it the Una thing I did last summer? I knitted something and I kept showing you on the podcast, and it was done in linen and cotton held together. It was peaches, greys, a bit of yellow, cream, all those sort of colours, and it was quite mild because I'd stop one colour and start another. Like keep the linen going, start the cotton, end the cotton, start another linen colour. So it looked really nice and marly, and I thought I could just chop this up and make a bag out of it. But I think the common phrase is I couldn't be arsed. So I didn't. I just put it in the charity bag, and it got put in the skip for the Sally Army. And that made quite a bit of space in my box, and it gives me a bit more incentive to make other things that I will wear. And as I've said probably before, I need to curate more rather than just go, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll make this, I'll make that. I need to make what I'm going to wear and not just get attached to things because they're patterns. All those patterns were nice. I mean, especially the Soul Dotner. That was in the wrong colours for me. If you look at Kazzy's from Wee So-and-so, who I need to contact actually, see how she is, because I know she's not been around for a while. Saying that, she'll probably reappear. But she did a lovely pastel coloured Soul Dotner, and I think I'd get more wear out of it if I'd chosen colours that were more similar to that, in that sort of palette that I like to wear more often. So that's me admitting that I've thrown things away. Have you thrown things away recently? I mean, I know when Leslie went through her stuff, saying what she did and she didn't wear, and it is a bit of an eye-opener, isn't it, to you, if you go through your wardrobe and you realise you spent all these hours on something that you're not actually bothered with for various reasons. It could be it doesn't fit well, it could be that it doesn't feel nice to wear, it could be that it's just the wrong weight for the time of year that you want to wear it, something as sort of benign as that. But if we're not going to wear it, we're not going to wear it. So that's my confession of the month. Well, one of them. You know me. Yeah, so they've all gone to the Solly Army. Now, let's talk about incoming. I haven't got very much. When I did the swap with Emma last time, and I had that lovely green fluff sent to me, and I returned the yellow to her, she gave me a little discount, and she'd done some lovely autumnal colours. I know, you know what's coming. So because she gave me this lovely discount, and I don't know whether there was already a discount as well on that particular offer to her newsletter subscribers. I don't know, I might not have been that greedy, but I bought this and it's almost a pale green all the way through. Actually, I think it's a cream mainly, and then it's got lovely. I love speckles, and it's got yellow, green, grey, and it's called Fallen for You. So it's one of her autumnal, and it's 100% British BFL, if you can read that, from Emma of Yarnworthy. 4-ply, and it's going to go in my big bag of green because I think I'm going to get 2 jumpers, a cardigan and jumper out of all those things. So they would make a really good city limits. Because I've just sat and hand wound. I'm not going to put the yarn winder on these things because they might be sat in the bag for some time. I don't want to stretch the yarn. So I've just hand wound this, and you can see all the colours in this. Now this green, I would say, mainly, is a bit too emeraldy for my skin. I've got a pile of makeup on today as well. So I would put this at the bottom, but I'm thinking, you know, it's something in between. Marling the colours together, because this is a worsted weight, so I'd start with 2 strands of this and then work up and perhaps have that at the top, and that would look really, really nice, wouldn't it? So that's one of the things I've got in mind. But I did buy another pattern, and I meant to look it up, put the name of it down, by Hinton Stein, and it's a jacket pattern, again in a worsted weight, so 2 strands of, and I wanted to do a big love again, but I've had a look at this new jacket that she's brought out, and it's got a collar on it and patch pockets, and I'm thinking actually that might be more useful to me than making another big love, although I wouldn't rule out making another big love. And I think I'm going to do like maybe a jacket along, or enhance the jump along in some way, that if you make a worsted weight style jacket come cardigan, then I'll, you know, add an extra prize in or something, because that's what I've got in mind. So yeah, now this is going to be one of my last purchases, because obviously I am seriously going on a yarn diet. I'm going to treat myself to 1 yarn club, possibly might be from Emma, because I can't resist most of her stuff. You know, she it's really nice. She's good. She's on the same wavelength as me, and you do find that with some dyers do very bright things, and you know, and that appeals to a lot of people. I've just seen the moon, 3/4 moon, just coming up, even though it's still quite light outside. And some dyers do rainbows, and it's getting to know which sort of dyers you like, really. Yeah, you may have noticed, hello, back again. Now, the other day I did put a couple of skeins that I'd bought from Angela and Andrew at Attic Spin Dye, who I met at Wonderwall, and I wanted a couple of skeins that I could put in with my minis from my advent to bolster them, so I'd have the same colour going up. What I mean is, rather than me having mini after mini after mini and, you know, using 2 at a time and having all those ends, if I had some whole skeins in nice subtle colours that would sit with these minis I've already got, having had a look at the colours that are in there, then I'll have fewer ends. So I bought, this one is called Salt Marsh, and it's a lovely pale green, of course, tonal. It's merino nylon, and yeah, and there's a nice little witchy stitch marker on there, or progress keeper, whichever you prefer to call it. And then I also bought a this one, which is called Flow Saturday Special, and this is lovely, sort of offbeat rainbow, really. It's got some beautiful colours in it, and this was dyed with the help of their granddaughter Flo, who came up and chose the colours and helped her granddad do some dyeing, presumably on a Saturday. So yeah, and that's going to go really well with my minis as well. So I get minis of a similar or contrasting colour and sit with the 2 strands, and it will save me having to, well, basically I just like them, so I bought them, but that's what I'm going to use them for. So there we go, that's my other incoming. And then yesterday was my birthday and I was 62. Some days I feel every inch of that and more. I'll talk a bit more about what happened on Wednesday night. But yesterday, yeah, I had a bit of a slow day. That was nice. I hadn't got any plans, and I'll tell you a bit more about that yesterday. But I don't know what happens. I mean, Tom falls asleep on the settee sometimes, and so do I, in the armchair watching telly. And then I buy things. So what I bought, and I did put this on Instagram, but I haven't had chance yet to lay out all the skeins and put them out for you to see the colours. So I won't show you them all because there's 13 of them and they're wrapped up. I'll show you. This was the 13 Days of Halloween by Beth of Beehive Yarns, and it is, as I put on Instagram, it is the first ever order I've had from Beth. Very impressed. Lovely. Came in a sturdy box with a black lining with black crinkled tissue paper in it. Everything was well wrapped in black bags, and there was a few extras as well. And what she's done is she's given me that's that lovely picture of that amethyst geode, and on the back are knit and crochet suggestions of what to do with your yarn. Now, not all these are relevant to me because for a change I chose the DK version, but that's useful because it's pointing me in the right direction. And on this one here, this other piece of card or laminated, beautiful quality paper. She's put 7 witchy fictions to read, 13 witches to watch, with suggestions on there, and then, you know, saying tag what you make. So very, very well presented, and everything came in bags like this. And I'll just show you a couple of the skeins so that you can see that it's not very easy for me to. This is one of the earlier ones. It's like blues and greys and a hint of green in there, and it goes through to the other end of being pinks. So what I need to do really is take them out of the wrapping, because I'm not particularly bothered about what they're called, and show you the colours. And I think that was one of the last ones, and that's called Tarot. And this is on a 75-25. It's a 20 gram DK, so it's 42 metres. It's about half the distance that you'd get with a 4-ply in this case, because they tend to be about 80 metres, don't they? So I need to have a look and see, and if I get the yarns out and I flatten the skeins, and I can then put them in, probably in the same order that I open them in, but I can then see what sort of thing I might want to make out of it. But it also came with this. Now, I can't wear a colour like this. That would really drain me. But when it's mixed with these others, like in a stripe or something, I'm thinking cowl maybe, or scarf, because it is rather nice. And this is called Coven, and of course it's Surrey alpaca and mulberry silk. So you get 300 metres in 50 grams, and it feels really, really soft. And there's Beth's logo that she uses. Beautiful. Absolutely superbly presented. Very, very impressed. Now, of course, we all want to see the extras. I'll show you a couple more of the yarns. It might not be this time, but I'll see if I can get outside and take some pictures of all the skeins together. Now, excuse the rattling, but I've put these together to show you the extras that she's included. First of all, there was Made for Beehive Yarns Coven, Pendle Witch's Brew, Twisted Orange Spice Black Tea. Now I'm not so mad on some of the very sweet or flowery teas, but I like a honey, a lemon and ginger, and I like a black tea. So that's come in a lovely little pouch like that, and that'll do me for several because I like very, very weak tea. I'm not generally a big stitch marker, but I've got another one of these that came from an advent, and I love it because I put it on a bag zip pull, and it's a gorgeous little ball with tiny purple shiny sort of aurora borealis finish. I don't think you can see, can you really, to the stars, so that's really pretty. Yeah. I end up taking photographs of all this. I might not even be on the screen. And then there was a moth brooch. Well, Tom thinks it's a butterfly, but I'm saying it's a moth because it's Covenish and it's winter. Isn't that beautiful? I've got various pins. In fact, I've got another moth pin that I bought myself, and it's really, really nice. But I don't know. I've got another thing in here, I think, that I've... There we go. And then there's also... I think Beth does some stone-based, like tumbled stone-based themed yarn as well. And what she's done here is she's put some amethyst, tumbled amethysts in as a balance. I love amethyst. I've got very little amethyst, and there's I've got about 4 stones, 3 or 4 stones that she's given in a little purple pouch, and then some information about what amethysts mean, and whether you believe in this sort of thing or not. I just believe in it as a bit of fun myself. They're just nice to have. So, oh yeah, and finally, I've kept them separate because they're a bit. You just pop these back in here, and I don't want to lose anything. Everything's so well done. I've also got, Tom doesn't like, but I love incense. And this is I think you put your cone of incense on there, and it catches all the dust as it. Sorry. This is called the moon. The moon meaning unconscious illusions, intuition, and it smells divine. I went into that hippie shop, didn't I, in Triskelion the other week. Black opium's 15 incense cones. I haven't opened them up. They smell gorgeous. I just love that smell. I would have been a hippie. My mum was a bit hippie-ish. She kept wearing long skirts and click-clacking away in her skulls or shoals, whatever you want to call them, when we were younger. Click, 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 clack. Didn't you, mother? So yeah, I'd recommend buying from Beth because I am more than pleased. Very, very happy with what I've received, and that was part of my birthday present. Tom bought me. He didn't know he'd bought it me, obviously, but you know, that's the way it works, isn't it, sometimes? So he probably disappeared again then. This might be my worst podcast ever. If I disappear off the side all the time. I'm not doing it again. I've got time to do it again. I'm going to go out tomorrow. Get double jabbed. Yeah, so yeah, lovely, absolutely beautiful, and that's all my incoming. So all that remains now is to talk about what I've been doing, and I need to refer to my notes because you know I've got a dreadful memory. I have another slurp of cold tea. I made my charity bags. I made 17. I had to adjust, because I want to be completely honest with you, how much I was going to donate to the charity, because I did initially say £15, but when I looked at the cost of the fabric, because I bought nice fabric and I had to buy a bit more and I had to buy a bit more wadding, overall I reduced it down to £10 per bag. But I think that was still fair enough. It probably it was nearer to covering my costs. I didn't cover my costs totally, but I'm not bothered about that. I had great fun doing it, really enjoyed doing it, and I gave £170 to the Stroke Association yesterday. I just put it on my credit card in the end. I wanted to do it online so I could gift aid it as well, so it's worth another 25% to them then. And I've also done 2 advent swaps with friends from the podcast, and they've arrived safely. I was a bit worried about them because the boxes I put them in weren't very stable, and yeah, but they've arrived safely, so don't have to worry about that. So that's whenever they want to start opening those, they can. And then last week on the 26th of October was our friend Debbie's birthday, and we lost Debbie. I went to school with Debbie, great friends with her, went on holidays with her. When her and me, we didn't have partners or anything, and we've been all over the country doing things. Debbie became poorly with lots of different issues. The last 10 years of her life were terrible, really. And we lost her in June of 2020 at the start of COVID. Not from COVID, but anyway. So on Deb's birthday last week, Liz, Elaine and I had agreed we'd meet up anyway. We were going to go to Merry Hill. But we'd also asked another friend who started at Exor half term before me. She started in September and I started in November, when we were both around 12. And Leslie lives near to Elaine. She's actually married to Elaine's brother. And Leslie's not very well. She's got cancer, unfortunately, and we haven't seen her for a while. So we wanted to catch her while she was feeling well enough to come out and have a chat to us. She was having chemo the following day, and I put a couple of photographs, I think, on Instagram or Facebook of us, because the others are on Facebook, they're not on Instagram. And we had a really good chat, but the day was beset with, we got to Harvester, which Elaine, Liz and I had been to last Christmas. We'd had a really nice meal, and Leslie was going to be dropped off there. Got to the Harvester and they said, sorry, we've got no gas and we don't know how long it's going to be. And they said to Leslie, apparently, we can deep fry anything. I thought, or we can do sandwiches. They got their salad bar and people were helping themselves, but a lot of people were going. So we hung around till Leslie arrived, and then we went to a nearby Wetherspoons. Now, you've got to take Wetherspoons as it is. Some are nicer than others. This was fine inside, but it's very, very busy when we arrived there about 12:30ish, 1:45 maybe. And couldn't park in the car park, although it's not usual that Wetherspoons have a car park, because a lot of them are in the middle of town, So dropped Leslie and Elaine off, and we found, Leslie knew of a little car park around the back, so Liz and I went round there. Couldn't find a disabled space, and so I just parked where there were no markings on the road, on that one side of the car park. There was a car distance from me, so I had plenty of room for the wheelchair. So I parked there, hoping that when I got back, nobody'd park right next to me. Otherwise, we'd have big problems, because Liz and Elaine and that, they don't drive, So, but we were lucky. I didn't get done for parking on an unmarked space or anything, and we were let off that. So we went, a lovely warm day. I had one of my knitted jumpers on, and I was too warm, to be honest. Went to Wetherspoons, had a nice meal. I ordered the wrong thing for me in the drink, and I ordered the wrong thing for me. I didn't order my own drink, and I didn't order the right food for me, even though I was doing everything on the app. I'm the sighted one, right? I'm the one that can see, theory. I'm also the idiot. But when we found Elaine and Leslie in the pub, they were sat just round the corner from the disabled toilet. You know what's coming, don't you? I like to share all these things with you, and yes, I must start doing a blog on it. But and you could see people going there, because they put their main toilets upstairs and people are too lazy to go. Family with kids more than capable of going upstairs. They weren't that young, they weren't babies or anything. I was in the Black Country, they're babbies there. Anyway, we had a lovely time, absolutely lovely time chatting and everything, reminiscing and talking about loads and loads of things, you know, very upfront and a very frank discussion about everything as well. But in the end I had to go to the loo. The floor was just wet. First of all, I said to Liz, you're going to have to come with me. Well, I knew that. I guessed what it was going to be like from when I go to the Crown in Worcester. So she said, I've got to roll me. She had to roll her legs up because they were just catching on the floor of her trousers, catching on the floor. So she rolled her legs up, came in with me. She had to hold my trousers off the floor. But she did mop the floor with some blue roll that they'd kindly left on the shelf. Yes, we should have got the staff to mop the floor. The toilet itself was clean, no problems at all with that. The toilet was very clean, the sink was clean, you know, but the floor was sodden. Now, I know a lot of people will wash their hands and then walk over to the dryer, and a lot of it will be water from the sink, but not all of it would be that close to the toilet. So she mopped the floor, she had to hold my trousers up. I was thinking, oh, it's the beginning of the end, isn't it? But it's ridiculous. I gave them a review on Google because although this, you know, the service was good and everything, it's not. They shouldn't be letting people in that are just going to wee on the floor. But the trouble is, the people who wee on the floor, the older men, I suspect, maybe the kids, I don't know, but the older men, they're the ones that, you know, oh, well, no, it's all right. You use a disabled toilet. You don't look like you can climb the stairs. If you're going to use it, please just, you know, don't treat it. Would you do that at home? I don't know. I just find it really, really frustrating that I don't have a choice about where to go. Anyway, enough about toilets. We had a nice day, and that's what counted. Then this week on Tuesday, I met Mum and we went to Longbridge. It was pouring down. It was black, the sky was, absolutely black. But luckily we park under cover. There's a big multi-storey there. We had a look round and she bought me a top for my birthday and some hand cream from their apothecary range. We nipped down to the Sainsbury's that's there and had a look round there, bought a few bits and pieces, had a cup of tea in Marks and Spencer's, popped into the food. So we had a nice time, really, really nice time. And then on the Wednesday, 2 days ago, it was the first Wednesday in the month, so that was tenner evening. And I got Tom to drop me at Asda in Worcester, because that's undercover, and it was pelting down again. Now, I got my thicker coat on, my newer coat. It's easier for me to get on and off. But it's not waterproof. And I had a 10-minute dash up to the cathedral where we were going to meet. And I got absolutely soaked. I could feel it on my arms. I could feel it. And my trousers were still wet 2 hours later when I went to the loo. It got very, very wet. And it wasn't cold. It was just very wet and windy. Had a nice time. What did I have this time? I overloaded on too much cheese. I had the halloumi, small plate. And it came with sweet chilli jam. And then I had the tomato arancini. But of course they've got a bit of cheese in them as well. They're like balls of rice with a crispy coating. So I had 2 small plates and then I had the apple pie, so that was more pastry. Not very good, not very healthy choices. But I couldn't eat, I didn't finish my arancini, I left half a ball, there were only 3. And then I didn't eat all of my apple pie tart, I was just getting full. And I had 3 porn star martinis because I wasn't driving. And they got too sweet for me in the end, so I didn't finish the last one of those either. I'm a bit of a lightweight. Tom picked us up. I couldn't get in the car. I couldn't move. I was aching from being wet and damp. Got me in the car, but just didn't put the back of the seat up, so I was lying down. And I was trying to look out the window, because you do, don't you? And got home and I was just absolutely, my body was like screaming at me. So I had to take a stronger tablet again, and but I slept okay, but I was a bit rough yesterday morning. I'm all right now. I do recover pretty quickly, but it doesn't take much to knock me about these days. And if the weather had been dry like it's been today, probably we would have been a bit better. And perhaps if I'd had one more drink, a hefty drink, I might have had a bit more oomph about me. But no. So there it is. That's where I've been and what I've done. Plans, well, got double jab on tomorrow. We're both going to my local GP surgery to get a jab. I've got a book to read from the library, Silkworm, which is the second strike book by J.K. Rowling, i.e. Robert Galbraith. And I've still got the last Bryant and May to read, but I haven't seen Penny and Maggie for ages, and I need to fix that up. Sorry, girls. I've just been tired. I'm busy with the bags and things. I don't know where the days go. No excuses, Anne. Then I've got and I've got another book that somebody's lent me. I can't think what it's called, but I'll let you know what it's like when I've read it. I've got a room booked overnight in Cheltenham to go and stay with my sister, with Juliet and Ali and Liz. But I might change that just to a day trip, depending on how I feel. I've booked the Premier in, so I can unbook it if necessary, and they're aware of that. I'm meeting workmates in Evesham on Monday at the fair, one of the blokes I used to work with, and Nikki, and we'll have a look around at the Christmas stuff while we're there. And I finally got a date for hydrotherapy. They phoned me up this morning because I've been thinking I must phone them up, and they've got a brand new hoist. Obviously couldn't get the other one repaired, and she said I could christen it, and we've agreed on the 22nd of November. So I'm quite looking forward to that. And if it works well for me, and I'm not too knackered afterwards, I'll go to the other sessions. So we'll see, won't we? And that's it, really. So it's slowly getting dark. I'm sure I've been talking for 54 minutes, 35 seconds. Some of that will be cut out of me moving backwards and forwards. But otherwise, apologies for the squeaking pig earlier. I don't mean the dog, I mean the pig. His favourite Piggo toy. He's got two of them because he loves them so much. I have to keep washing them. And I am going, for my birthday tea, I meant to tell you this yesterday, I bought a bolty curry from Marks and Spencer's, and some, it said new improved recipe or something like that on it, and the bolty was lovely. It serves two. And I also bought something called gunpowder potatoes, and it was potatoes in a chaat masala sauce and a bit of butter. It was greasy, I think. Tom chopped all these up and merged them all. But they were like baby new potatoes, which we do in the oven anyway quite regularly. And spring onions and things. A bit spiky the green stuff was. And we shared a little portion of rice, and we had a mini naan bread each, and that was really, really nice. And then for my birthday cake, I know I asked about it on Instagram, and thank you, Shelley, for the cookbook. Definitely going to be making some cakes out of that she sent me. But in the end, we used some cereal that I'd bought. It's Crunchy Nut Granola, Hazelnut and Chocolate by Kellogg's, and it was just too sweet to eat. And then we've got various bars of Bourneville that my mum had bought my dad because he'd like to take a bar with him sometimes when he was on his bike rides. So he did have a sweet tooth, but he used to manage it very well. So we've got those, melted those with a bit of butter and a bit of water, and put in the granola, some apricots and some cherries, dried cherries and apricots, a few raisins and some crushed digestive biscuits. Tiffin, in other words, and it's worked out really well. So that's my birthday cake, and I have got a photograph. I'll put it up. So that's really nice, and just goes in the fridge. And of course it will keep as well. I'll take a bit up to Mum tomorrow. See what she thinks. She'll probably say it's too sweet. It is quite sweet. But yeah, so I had a really nice birthday. Tom bought me some chocolates. I've got some Thornton's coffee creams. My favourite, Alpini. I love Praline. And I had some lovely chocolates from my friend of the podcast. Thank you very much. And yeah, all's well. I've had a really, really nice birthday. I don't know if I want to celebrate anymore. I like the birthday bit, but I don't like the counting. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I will say goodbye, and I will see you hopefully in about 2 weeks' time. Contact me. Please contact me. Talk to me. A lot of you do. You're lovely. You've got a great bunch there. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.